So you may be asking yourself, are homes in greater Boston area cheaper typically during the winter, right? Right now it's the time of year where the temperature is dropping. So what most people want to do is snuggle at home with a hot chocolate or maybe some whiskey, depending on your style. And no one really wants to go out shopping for homes, right? So you might be thinking, is now the time for me to go out there and maybe try to get a better deal? So that's the question I'm going to be answering in this video. But before we get into it, guys, my name's Lior. I'm a real estate agent with Compass out of Boston. So what that means is if you guys are thinking about buying or selling, if you're thinking moving here, relocating within the area, whatever it is, I can help you guys out with that. So if you guys are thinking about doing any of that, I've got so many people reaching out to me that watch my videos and I absolutely love it. So you can call, you can text, you can email me, and we can connect and set up a personalized game plan for you. And really quick, guys, as well, if this is your first time to my channel and you haven't already smashed that subscribe button, make sure to do that. That way you'll get notified every time I do a new video. So with that, grab your mitts, grab your scarves, grab your coats, and let's get at it. All right, so let's jump right into it, right? The temperatures are going down, and a lot of people typically think that they might be able to get a better deal or find a better buy in the winter. So let's actually think about what typically happens in the winter in the real estate market around Greater Boston, right? Typically, yes, right? If a house is going to be listed on the market in the winter, right? And I'm basically saying winter anytime from about Thanksgiving or so all the way through basically February, right? Maybe even early parts of March when it's really cold. Typically, yes, that seller is probably going to be a little bit more motivated, right? It's not like your average person wants to necessarily move during these insanely cold months, right? Because think about it, if you're going to list a house on the market, that means you're going to have people coming in and out of your door in the winter. If you're going to have showings as a seller, you're going to have to go out of the house, right, to give space to the buyers. And if you're actually going to sell the house, you're literally going to have to move in the winter, right? So yes, typically if someone's trying to sell their home in the winter, they're probably a little bit more motivated than typical, right? I'm not saying sellers in the spring or summer are not motivated, but if they are selling in the winter, that probably means there's something really kind of pushing them to try and do it sooner rather than later. So there's motivation. So that's a good thing. But does this actually translate for buyers in getting a good deal? Well, yes and no, maybe, right? So let's think about it from a buyer's perspective. First of all, you have to remember is that Greater Boston, right? The Greater Boston area real estate market is insanely competitive, right? Insanely competitive. And it's been like that for the last 10 years, right? So whether it's snow on the ground, whether it's beautiful and 90 degrees outside, there's been a ton of money, a ton of buyers chasing homes around the Greater Boston area. And that's from everything from downtown condos to multifamilies to single family in the suburbs. Boston just has been such a strong market with attracting so many different types of jobs, people moving here, that it's just continued to stay super resilient and very attractive. And beyond just the general competition that's always going to be around the Greater Boston area, the other thing to remember too is if you're going to go buy in the winter, yes, sellers are probably going to be more motivated, right? But you're typically going to have a lower amount of inventory, right? Because like I said, most people, unless they're super, super motivated and really want to do something like right now, they're likely going to wait until it's warmer, until the spring or summer to really try and do something. So that means typically we see less inventory available on the market. So as a buyer, yes, you have a smaller buyer pool. Yes, those sellers are a little bit more motivated, but your total pool of inventory is smaller. So not only are you competing against less amount of homes, but you also have a smaller amount of selection for yourself, right? So if you're looking for maybe something more specific, or you like having the options of having a lot of different types of inventory available, the winter can get a little tighter on inventory. So it could possibly take you even a little longer, right? Because you have to go through a lot more homes in a longer period of time to actually find the right house that's right for you. So overall, typically, If you're really gonna ask that question, is it a better time for me to buy the house? I think the answer comes down to this: what are your specific goals and reasons for trying to buy a home in the winter, right? If you need to move into Boston during the winter, then yes, it's certainly a good time to buy. But if your mentality is, well, I'm gonna go into the market and I'm just absolutely gonna steal a place and get such a huge discount, the reality is that's probably unlikely, right? Again, the market is so competitive here that even in the winter, even when it's 20 degrees or 10 degrees outside, there's still a ton of buyers shopping for homes, shopping for property around Boston and greater Boston. So just make sure you have your reasons straight set. Now, let's also talk about how this specific winter might be a little different than our past winters, right? Obviously, 2020, lots of new things happening. So with COVID, right, what we've seen lately and what we've seen since basically the summer is we've had all-time low interest rates, right? So the interest rates have been so low that it's just fueled so many buyers to come into the market, and it's really brought up the frenzy of competition. So, we'll see exactly how it plays out in the winter. From conversations with many different bankers, other brokers, and other people in the industry, most people think that that activity is going to continue through the winter. There's still going to be a lot of buyers still trying to take advantage of the super, super low interest rates, right? I mean, people are getting interest rates now between 2.6 and 2.8, 2.9%. I mean, just stupid low interest rates. So I think we're going to see a lot more people continuing to try to take advantage of that. So I think it's still going to be a lot more activity than maybe even ever before this specific winter. The other thing I'll say too, beyond just COVID and the interest rates, with everything going on with the uncertainty with the election, right? We just passed the election. We have a president-elect. More details on that to come soon. We have a president-elect. There's still some uncertainty with riots and markets, et cetera, et cetera. So what we've seen happen is typically when there's more uncertainty in the market, more investors go and buy and stick their money in real estate, and especially in safe haven markets like Boston, right? Because remember, like we talked about, Boston is incredibly resilient, such a strong market. So I think we're also going to continue to see more money chasing properties around the Boston area. So between that and the interest rates, I think this year specifically in the winter, it's still going to be a pretty competitive winter. I think there's going to be a lot of people going after homes. So again, if you're expecting to come into the market and steal property, that's probably not going to happen. Maybe you can find a one-off or something, but pretty unlikely. I think we're going to see quite a bit of action going as the year and the winter progresses. So hopefully that helps, guys. If you guys have any questions, any comments, shoot them below. And like I said, guys, I get so many calls from you guys watching my videos, and I absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about doing anything with real estate, whether you're thinking about buying, selling, investing, whatever it is, hit me up and I will help you out.